Welcome. My name is Ana Lucia Escudero, and I'm a communicator at IDB. Today we're going to talk about energy, precisely about how to accelerate the energy transition in Latin America and the Caribbean. I'm fortunate to talk today to two individuals here from the public and private sectors. With me we have Marsha Atherley-Ikechi, who is the CEO of the Fair Trading Commission of Barbados. And also we have Aurelio Bustilho de Oliveira, who's the CEO of Enel Americas. Welcome to you both. So the first question I want to ask is, Aurelio, please tell us, what are the trends that you're seeing in energy transition across Latin America and the Caribbean this year?
It's a very interesting question. Our operation in Latin America, we have more than 25 million clients in all the big cities of Latin America, and we see a big movement that people want to produce their own energy. People want to generate their own energy, so roof panels and so on. And the regulation is especially in Brazil, is pushing for this. We see in the next 10 years probably 1/4 or 25% of the total capacity will come from this distributed generation. So I think this will be a huge challenge to the system and to test the resilience of the system, and all the system, and also especially the net metering that we need to develop in order to give this possibility for people to what we call the prosumer. No,
it's fantastic. So it's growing exponentially. It's growing a lot, and we have to cover for that. But what I'm wondering, Marsha, like for the viewers who are watching, the people, the citizens of Latin America and the Caribbean, how does this actually impact? How does the green energy transition impact their everyday lives?
It impacts their lives in a myriad of ways. First of all, it allows them, as Aurelio said, to be a prosumer, being able to generate electricity for yourself and then sell excess to the grid. By doing that, you eliminate your own electricity bill, and you're able to become almost like a small entrepreneur in terms of selling and be able to make a profit on your investment, depending on the size or capacity of your investment. Beyond that, we are also looking at transition within the space of electric vehicles. And with that, there are spin-offs not only in terms of reducing the fossil fuel footprint, but also in the health benefits to the individuals. We have a system in Barbados where the public sector transportation has been transformed. 80% of the vehicles are now electric vehicles. So that's significant in and of itself. Beyond that though, our systems are such that is allowing, the government speaks of democratization of the energy space. So we are building from the bottom up by allowing the average homeowner to be able to invest in renewable energy. And at this point, we started about 10 years ago. And at this point, we have in excess of 3,000 distributed energy generators in Barbados. On the end of the larger IPPs, we have a number of them coming to the table, but none of those projects have been commissioned as yet. But the expectation is that will happen soon.
I love that, and you're saying that everybody can be a small entrepreneur and have a share in this, which I think that's a valuable piece of information for everybody watching. There's an opportunity here for them every day. Yeah. And I think thinking about the public sector and the private sector, especially Aurelio, what are the projects that you're seeing that are exciting, innovation that I'm always hearing the private sector brings innovation, right? Maybe you can tell us a little bit of some projects that you were proud of and you thought those were very innovative, cutting edge, that might be interesting for the viewers watching this.
Probably related to this is to develop all the innovation that we need for this resilience of the grid, right? I told you about the smart meter. This is something that we are pushing for this and deploying this technology. Also, cities lots of people circulating on the city. So telecontrolling, remote controlling, operating the grids, this is something that we are pushing a lot, and improving, especially improving the quality of our grids. We are talking about hours of failures during the year, right? In average, now in our region in general, no? In United States, in Europe, you talk about minutes, no? In average. So this is a very important challenge for the system, the companies, policymakers, regulator, in order to how can we improve this productivity, in order to improve our capacity of competition in the world. No, so this is I think this is the biggest challenge that we are pushing as a company, as a group, and we are very and we are seeing lots of extreme events also. This climate change issues. They are presenting lots of climate, I mean hot weather, hotter than ever, winds more than the infrastructure support. So this is something that gives some elements that we need to care about, this resilience of the grid that we need in order to how can we absorb this energy, how can we manage the climate issues, how can we adapt the grids in order to operate and provide this productivity that we need to our industry, to our infrastructure in general.
I think what you said about resilience is so important, and all the changes that we're seeing with climate change and pressuring the grid in that sense. And I think that part of that, the challenge right now, and I think, Marsha, we talked about that before, about we only have 6 more years to go for the Sustainable Development Goals, right, the SDGs, for the UN. And we talked about this and how can we actually close that? What bold investments do we need, both from the public sector and the private sector? How can we get there?
So before I go to that, I just want to pivot back to the original question and to bring it home for viewers in terms of the benefits. 2 major things I want to emphasize. One being the return on investment is significant, much more than what you'll be seeing in a conventional bank at this point. You would typically have a payback period of 5 to 7 years, when the technology is going to be producing for as much as 25 years. So there's a significant payback that's there. Beyond that, in terms of EVs, again, the idea is that you are significantly reducing the cost. So in Barbados, for example, it would cost an individual $7.50 US for a journey that is about 125 kilometers. Under conventional fossil fuel system, it will be triple that amount. And it's a similar thing, perhaps even lower in Jamaica, because the cost then is about $5.35. So there's a significant benefit in using EVs, and there's a significant benefit in using RE generation, whether it is wind, solar, or what have you.
No, and I think to that point, it seems that the incentive is not just for the public and private sector, let's wait for that to happen. It's more consumers, everyday people have that opportunity to really get into it and help close that gap. And I just think, one final thought, if each of you can have a parting thought, 1 minute for our viewers watching this, what can they take from this? How does this really matter in their everyday lives? I think you've touched upon it quite a bit, but is there anything else that you'd like to part with? Maybe we'll first go with Aurelio and then Marsha to go.
Well, I think we are in an amazing moment with the energy transition. We need to take advantage of this, of the position that Latin America, that we have in terms of the materials that we need for transition, our matrix. So we are in an excellent position in order to take advantage of this transition and bring real value for the people, for the entrepreneurship. Education, we can use this transition to develop entrepreneurship, innovation, education. I mean, we have an important tool. I think the work of IDB, for example, is very important. but also companies and regulators, as Marsha was explaining, in order to work together and build these sustainable models that we can take advantage of this transition and really to stay some value in this transition. I mean, not only the old thinking that it's only extract commodities and not bringing value and not create a very good environment and to monetize all this.
I think from my perspective, there are three things that we need to pay attention to. One, if we are to be able to get the 2030 targets, we have to fast track. There's no doubt about that. And we can use the model that's been used in Hawaii, for example, renewable portfolio standards, which holds the utility accountable for having strategic milestones, incremental strategic milestones along the process, so that when they reach those milestones, there's incentive. If they don't reach the milestone, there's a penalty. So they can either do it through their own generation or purchase power. But however, there are specific targets to be met along the timelines. So that's one thing that we need to be able to look at within the Caribbean context. Beyond that, I think it is imperative that we use this opportunity to ensure that we develop our human resources. We cannot do it without having homegrown human resources. It is fine to have technical assistance, and we are over the hill in terms of welcoming technical assistance from multilaterals and the others. But at the end of the day, what will drive this and ensure that it's sustainable is if our own people are empowered to do that. So that is an absolutely critical thing that we need to do. We cannot do it via having a 2-day seminar. That's not going to be practical. We have, through the IDBs of this world, World Banks of this world, have immersive sessions. So that is what we would want to ask of the developmental agencies. Allow the technocrats within the various government departments to assist the governments in allowing for immersive experiences to build the capacity, because we need capacity across the spectrum, from communicators to engineers to data specialists. All of those things are absolutely necessary all across the value chain, because that is one of the things in terms of being allowing for energy independence. That is one of the drivers that would allow that to take place.
Thank you for that. That's fantastic. And I take from this conversation so much, but one, that it's in our hands, right, of all of us. It's not just waiting for public and private sectors to come together, but it's also, because you are, but also all of us have that opportunity to invest in ourselves and make sure that we're accelerating this energy transition together. So, well, thank you for your time, both of you.
I think there's one other thing I want to add, is that we also absolutely need to pay attention to equity and affordability. It is absolutely imperative. If the average person on the street does not feel as though they're part of the process, that they can afford the energy, then we will have a difficult time being able to advance it at the pace that we would want to. And there must be that inclusion all along the social spectrum.
Well, certainly this will help in terms of public awareness that they have this power in their hands. And I thank you so much for your time, Marsha and Aurelio. And everybody tuning in, I would love for you guys to see the seminar that they have spoken at. And please make sure that you watch all of our videos as well for the annual meeting for IDB and IDB Invest here in Punta Cana. Thank you very much.